Okay, so somebody asked me to do a facial contouring massage, and I don't have a model, so I will just take you quickly through the steps that I would do if I had a model. And so the first thing I would do is rest their head on the occipital ridge, where I'm just holding on to the very edge of the skull, essentially. And I hold that for a good 3 to 5 minutes, just so everything starts to release. Now, the way you could do this to yourself is just take your anma or your hands and just start to loosen up your traps and loosen up the back of your neck and all of that. So, or you could take your thumbs and sort of gently massage them into that occipital ridge, which is just the ridge of the skull. And you would start there. And then I guess you could roll your neck to start to stretch out the platysma, because it can get really bunched up on us. And then I would do, and you've seen me do this before, probably. Trying to find a good. So we're going to walk up and down the sternocleidomastoid, the SCM. So if you turn sideways, you'll see this on people. Usually sticks out quite a bit. And this gets very contracted with phone use, computer use. I wish I could put this thing up higher. Let's see if this works. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so let's see what else. So you're gonna release that. You can go down here and sort of do little circles, sort of loosen up this area, because this is where all the lymph flows into. This is the main portal of all the lymph where it dumps into, right? And then I would come up here, and generally people will have a wet face, or I'll even start this when I am cleansing. And so you'll just do sort of a nice little stretch, but it's so light. It's so light. And I just do this to see where I'm going to need to work more. And then I will start to release the jaw, because this is always tight on everybody. And so I'll go one hand directly beneath the cheekbone there, and the other hand underneath that, and I will wiggle and sort of release that in opposite directions. And this is easier if you've got some cream on your face, but it's not super deep, not yet. And then I will do the same thing with the cheek. Sort of get up underneath here. And I'm working on clients, I'm upside down, and so I can get in here. And a lot of times people just have so much stagnation through here. So you can start out like this, but there's no limit to what you can do to release this. I mean, keeping in mind that fascia can be restricted in any direction. And so I will do sort of this, right? I'll go in here, and I'm looking for the rossorus. Sorry, I don't have my little, it's a smile muscle, but it's stuck up underneath the buccinator and the masseter, or the buccinator. So when you're on this, you can really feel it. Yeah. So it's your smile muscle, right? There's a big part of the population that doesn't even have this muscle, like in Norway, which is bizarre. So get that. And then I'll usually work up around the eye, just very gently, where I call a four-corner stretch. So sort of just releasing some of this pent-up tension, very gently at first, and always gently around the eye. But another way to get a lot of fluid out of the eye area is just to do this, where you kind of curl your fingers up underneath your brow bones, and you wiggle a little bit. What you're trying to do is cause a flushing move. And so you flick it out like that, and then the fluid that's in there is forced to expunge. So, and then a lot of times I'll come in here and like I said, I've got cream or something on the eye, but where the crow's feet area is, and I'll do some little wiggles. And with the Anma, this is so much faster. But wherever you see a wrinkle, you can be sure that there is a fault line there, a little fascia line that would love to be released. Now, when I have enough water or slip and glide on the face, then I will go in deeper into that eye socket with my finger. And I do have eye cream on, so I've got some. And the same thing up above here. We're just trying to work that out. And then this is Jane's move where she slides along the brow. This can be really gnarly on some people. And then she does a swooping move it's like she's doing this to sweep it out. But a lot of people, this is very strong. And so then I'll go in and do some extra moves to release this brow. And you all seen me do this, I think. So this is like a triangular muscle that pulls down. And when it pulls down, it caves in on itself. So it's good to pull it back up and do little sort of crosshatch movements across it and pull that back out, that wrinkle that forms, or those wrinkles that form in the 11s area. And then I'll do a little lifting the entire forehead. This is different on every client. You know where your trouble areas are. So I don't know if you can see the release of lymph just in that eye area as opposed to this eye area, and this side as opposed to this side. Now, I would normally do some up underneath the jawline stuff. It's really kind of hard to do to yourself, but this is such an area that collects lymph, and usually this movement gets it moving. And a matter of fact, if these sternocleidomastoids are overly tight, all this work is for naught because you're just not going to drain. It's just going to be stuck right here. So you definitely need to go in and release these guys, and they get contracted on everybody on a daily basis for hours and hours and hours and hours, however long we're looking down at our phones or our computers. So this is a high payoff move. Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to get this guy to, some of this is fat and some of it is lymph. Another thing you can do if you've got a lymphy neck is just do head rolls. You know, sort of work this into your routine. And don't be pulling, don't be, you know, trying to stretch extra hard. Just go as far as you can, do head rolls. And then as soon as that's all warmed up, you can just turn side to side. See, my neck is very, very tight. And I can tell when I turn side to side. Oh, I think it's time for another adjustment. And this is from me working, you know, looking down at clients. So this side to side move really gets the lymph flowing and moving. I don't know if you can see that that's moved a little bit for me. And then you do the other side. So you'd go back in and do the sort of very superficial fascia release. Very, very superficial. And I go back in with these moves. There's nothing saying that you can't go back and revisit an area. Oh, there's this. This is my favorite too. This is a nice payoff because this cheek complex gets very flattened from just everyday expressions and talking. And there's a lot of fascia, very dense fascia up underneath here that just gets compacted. And so when you do that, you'll notice, boing, your cheek will pop up. So let's do the same thing on the other side. Got to release that jaw. So I'm sort of moving. There is a routine, you know, that Jane teaches. I learned one of her older routines. I tend to still favor it. She does a lot of intraoral moves, and I don't have time to do all those with clients, but on some people it is necessary. So if you have a client who maybe is a singer or teaches, you know, I had a piano instructor client, and she was singing all the time, and her mouth was just so tight that I had to do intraoral massage for her and go in there and really release stuff, because going from the outside was doing nothing on her. She just was tight as a drum through here. But once I started going inside her mouth, things started to release. So inside the mouth move would be, all right, I did that, I did that. I want to release this a little because I have a lot of sinuses, and this will get really sort of dense and can just not flowing. And you want this to flow, especially if you have allergies and sinuses like I do. Let's see, let's do this guy. This guy. So you start to recognize the moves over and over. And then, you know, I just do what it takes. I'll look and see, you know, do they have extra bunny lines, or do they have extra tension because they wear glasses? Glasses wearers will also have a lot of forehead lines a lot of times. And forehead lines can be released, oddly enough, by going on the top of the head, because this muscle starts here and winds all the way back to the edge of your scalp. So, gosh, this release is so much better with the Anma. But I just wanted to show people, if you don't have, if you've just got your hands and you want to start, oh my God, why is my scalp so tight? For Christ's sakes. Yeah, I'll be getting the Anma and doing a once over on my scalp, because that's when these really release on me. And then when my jaw is less tight, this is less tight. So if your jaw, which is the basis of your face, if it gets really tight, you're going to be in pain face. So it's going to be like this. You know, everything's sort of scrunched to the middle. And so when we go in and release that jaw, everything else sort of falls in place. And let's see. So the neck, we did that. We did the eyes. We did... what else was I going to do here? I think that's it. Oh, the lips. So this is, you know, I did a really popular video. People went crazy about it. This is how you release the depressors, or the downward turned corner of the mouth. So you can either, you can go up the length of it, if you can find it this way, or you can anchor at the corner of the mouth and pull down. Either way works. Sometimes I'll do both. And somebody who has very sort of dehydrated and need of stretching depressors. Oh, mine is. Oh, feels good. Okay, and the other side. So it's just a triangular shaped muscle that goes like this. So sometimes you'll get, ooh, right there. Sometimes you get more of a stretch this way, and sometimes you get more of a stretch straight down. Straight down, if you can hear me. So that's it. That is the basics of facial contouring. I mean, that's when I'm just doing a quickie, that's what I'll do. I also have some pressure points here where if people are just not releasing through here, and I'll go inside the mouth. Oh, I'm gonna go inside the mouth here in a second. I will just press these pressure points, and then I'm sitting there just envisioning all the words they left unsaid, and all the stress, and all this, you know, because people, I have clients that come in and they're just, you know, they just hold it all through here. And so I just envision like all that energy just going whoosh. And if I sit there for about a minute, it does, because they're, you know, acupressure points, and they just release all this mouth tension. Okay, so going inside the mouth, there's different ways of doing it, but I'm going to teach you the easiest and biggest payoff one. Jane's are a little more complicated and can hurt. Drink a lot of water after this. We can store a lot of toxins through here, so just make sure you drink a lot of water. Okay, so we're going to do like a 360 from the corner of the mouth, and we're going to just use our thumb. We're lightly, just kind of looking for knots, balls, and areas of tension. Oh, 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 oh. Woo! Oh. And it's just a nice way to pull that masseter and that buccinator out when they've just been, we're always pushing them back with microcurrent. Sometimes they need that reverse movement to release themselves. Oh. Woo! Yeah. It's gonna, you'll feel this. Oh, oh my God. So that's the idea, that you use your thumb to sort of push up underneath, and you are pulling out little balls of tension and just opening up blood supply to this area. And you should look pretty rockin' afterwards, like these balls on the side of the mouth. Yeah, this side is worse for me. A lot of muscles come together right here. Okay, so that's a quickie facial contouring massage. Maybe I'll grab the ointment and do that later, but that's the basics. Thanks for watching.